I have a STEM master's degree.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Thanks.
STEM what now?
Well, it's a master's degree in many science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. It's actually one of the basic requirements to become an astronaut.
Today we're going to test you on the Mastiff.
Oh, I know what this is. It's the Multi-Axis Space Test Inertia Facility. This is used to train astronauts on how to regain control of a spaceship if it's spinning out of control. I have over 1,000 hours as a pilot in command of a jet aircraft, which, by the way, is the minimum qualification, just saying.
The main theory of how planets are formed is called the nebula hypothesis. In short, when a nebula collapses, it releases a huge cloud that orbits a young star. Through a process called accretion, this cloud accumulates and creates
Planets! Heck yeah! Wait, they also added some rules back in 2006, right?
That's right. A planet must orbit a star, it must have enough gravity to be spherical, and it must have cleared its orbit from other big objects.
Well, there must be a planet that's closer to every other planet on average, right?
Hey, wouldn't that be me?
You? Ha! What gives?
Well, I'm closer to the sun.
So?
Well, think about it. Even if you were close to, let's say, the Earth, most of the time the distance between you two is very large. Same thing happens with everyone else.
And how does that make you the winner?
Well, the distance from every planet to the sun doesn't change much. And since my orbit is a lot closer to the sun than most of you, I'm never really too far away from any of you.
If an object moves too slowly through a planet's orbit, it'll crash down into the planet. And if it goes too fast, it'll fly off into space. Look, Jupiter has like 70 moons, and he's not showing off.
80 moons to be exact.
Venus told us you know something about some mirrors.
Mirrors?
Yeah, on the surface of the moon.
Oh, yeah, we use them to measure the distance from the Earth to the moon. We shoot a laser from Earth and calculate the time it takes for the laser to return.
Well, that's lame. It's around 238,000 miles, right? Ugh, you Earthlings and your lame ideas.
Wait, no, it's more interesting than that. You see, we discovered something about the moon. It's drifting away.
Okay, listen. The moon is pulled by the Earth's gravity, right?
Right?
And the Earth is also pulled by the moon's gravity.
Right. Huh?
Guys, the moon may be smaller, but it still has a gravitational force that affects the Earth.
But I'm bigger.
Everything pulls on everything else. I pull you, you pull me. Even Astro Dude over there pulls us toward him. Big things are just way better at it.
Okay.
Okay, so the moon pulls you in, and there's always one side of the Earth that's closer to the moon, right?
Right. I don't see the problem yet, Jupiter.
Well, the problem is that this side is always changing.
Oh, well, because I'm spinning?
Yup, and very fast, actually. So the side of the Earth that's being pulled by the moon is changing all the time.
Why does that matter? We're all spheres, so that—
You're wrong. We're not perfect spheres. In fact, we all stretch based on the gravitational forces that pull us. But you're also rotating. So instead of looking like this, you look like this.
So we're never really aligned?
Nope. You're always re-stretching because you're rotating. This actually slows down your rotation, but that's a topic for another day.
Jupiter, friend, all I got from this is that I'm pulling the moon to my center, so my point's still—
Wrong. The moon's not being pulled to your center, it's being pulled towards this weird spot. That's what accelerates the moon into higher orbit.
You think there's one side of me that's always cloaked in shadow? That is simply not true.
Yes, it is.
How?
Because we're tidally locked.
You don't even know what that word means.
It means we're always facing only one side.
One side of what?
The Earth?
Exactly! If we were tidally locked with the sun, who is the source of light in the solar system, then sure, we'd have a dark side, but we're tidally locked with the Earth, which orbits the sun and we spin around it. You're the side of me that never gets to watch the Earth. Weight is measured based on how much gravity pulls on something. That's what the scales my Earthlings used to. They would give completely different results if they did it on one of you.
Right, but there's gravity everywhere.
What do you mean?
When your Earthlings were on the moon pulled them in, right? But you have stronger gravity, so you pull in the moon. And the sun's is even stronger and pulls you into his orbit.
So why do some of us have more gravity?
The strength of gravity is based on how much mass something has. And the more mass something has, the more it weighs. So something with stronger gravity is also heavier.
You want to merge together and make new planets? Ew, I don't want to know your weird fantasies. He means that you almost crashed into him, which would have destroyed both of you, and after a few million years, new planets would have formed.
The moon catches most of them, and I usually dodge the rest. Plus, even when we're not playing, random small meteorites come at me either way.
You probably saw Ceres. They say he's been hiding in the asteroid belt since the early days of the solar system. A dwarf planet like Pluto.
So there's more of those around?
Oh, totally. 10 at least. Plus a lot of planet-sized moons, too. Drifting through debris, hidden in plain sight. Have you guys never noticed that before? He's on orbit behind the sun like every year and a half.
Nobody else is as close to me as you are.
Well, an average of 35 million miles is not my definition of close, but sure, I'm the closest planet to...
When two planets share an orbit, that usually results in either a collision or one of them being hurled into the sun. Size isn't the only thing that makes you a planet. If you have a steady orbit that isn't full of huge space debris you can't clear, you're fine.
Relax, Mercury. You're just going through tectonic activity.
Tectonic what now?
It just means that your core is active and your surface is shifting and crashing. Although, side effects may include a contracting crust, so you may become even smaller.
Venera missions? They sent several robots to the surface of Venus, which were able to transmit information for a few minutes before the hellish conditions of the planet destroyed them.
So, the temperatures of Venus can rise all the way to 870 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to melt lead.
Huh. Well, good thing my ship can resist that. And that the air conditioner isn't broken. Hey, what about the night? Well, I can just wait and...
Forget it. A day in Venus lasts 243 days on Earth. And even if you wait all that time, the temperature is basically the same. The clouds prevent the heat from escaping, so you're inside a big oven. Well, the pressure outside is similar to being 3,000 feet underwater.
Are you a giant ball of acid rain and volcanoes being named after Venus, the Roman goddess of beauty? You know why they call it the solar system? Now we're gonna be a bunch of frozen Plutos drifting through space. We need the sun's gravitational pull to stay in orbit.
But he really is the best we've got. Other stars will also become red dwarfs one day, or go supernova. And don't get me started on supernovas.
Well, yeah, but our sun can't be the best option, right?
Okay, hypothetically, if we were to find a new star, the closest one is 4.35 light years away.
Do you know anything about how a star is born? The sun formed out of the same dust as us through intense gravity. If you repeated that, there'd be a whole system full of new planets and orbits, and we'd all get destroyed.
Jupiter is super huge, made of basically the same stuff as the sun, and has strong gravity.
Listen, guys, I literally can't become a second sun. Yeah, I'm made of the same stuff, but that's because we all are. We're all made of leftovers from when the sun came about.
Yeah, but...
No buts! I may be more like the sun than you, but it was born from special circumstances, when a molecular cloud collapsed in on itself. That can't happen to us anymore, unless you see any of those around here.
The reason the Earth has life is because he's in the Goldilocks zone.
Goldie, what now?
Oh, I know about that. It's a very specific area in a star's orbit where a planet is not too hot for water to evaporate, nor is it too cold for it to freeze.
Why does it matter where they are in the orbit?
Want to answer that, Mercury? Well, have you noticed how freaking hot we are? How cold Uranus is? We're closer to the sun, thus we're hotter.
Oh...
So, if you position yourself at just the right distance from the sun, you'll have a better chance of developing life, like the Earth has. Most of the trash comes from the rockets we send to space. Crossing your atmosphere is hard, so we use different boosters that are then released once we're high enough. We also carry satellites and other cargo that, of course, is protected by these special capsules that, let me guess, you also release like it's someone else's problem. I mean, we do pay for all of it later on. All this trash in your orbit can turn into small particles that may reach incredible velocities. It's like having tiny bullets flying around the planet, sometimes damaging satellites. My Earthlings want to colonize you. What's that supposed to mean? Some of them think Mars could be their future. We're kind of similar. Gravity, water in some form, an atmosphere, even if they can't breathe your air. Huh. I guess I get that. They can be a bit annoying, but if I really am the best option they have... If you were their best option, Astro Dude over here wouldn't need a closed-off environment to be on your surface. Your temperature is deadly, your air is poison, and you're not hospitable to plants or animals. They've been talking about terraforming you, but yeah, that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
See how long you can survive on Mars without a suit.
Studies say I'd pass out in 30 seconds, and then I'd die in a minute or so. Also, it's like minus 60 degrees Celsius, and there's no oxygen.
Yeah. Did you know that there are 5 layers to Earth's atmosphere? The lowest one being the troposphere, where we live, and the highest one being the exosphere, where satellites orbit the Earth.
So, in a weightless environment, our muscles basically say, hey, we don't need all this extra tissue, let's all shrink. I mean, my point is that it's mandatory for us to work out. Otherwise, when I return home, I'll be like a deflated basketball.
What about your bones?
Same thing. If we don't work out in space, we lose around 1% of our bone density every month. So yeah, I could also potentially break my bones when I return.
Small planet orbits around the big planet, blah blah blah. But us, we orbit around each other.
You are my moon! The thing is that you're a big moon, so our center of mass isn't near my center, but instead it's a bit further away. We're almost the same size and made of the same stuff. We're even pretty much the same temperature. Well, but we don't look the same. You're blue and I'm lighter blue. You're not lighter, just less saturated, because I have way less ice and stuff floating around to dull me down. My atmosphere is always super active. My orbit takes like 84 years to spin around the sun, so I'll just slow you down. You go, mate.
Mine takes 29 years, but, bah, we are sentient planets.
Because my orbit is 165 years long. My atmosphere is made of hydrogen sulfide. Gotcha. What's that? It's one of the smelliest chemicals, like in the universe. What? You also have rings. Even Jupiter has rings, only they're harder to notice.
But more recent studies suggest that your rings may have originated from a moon that got too close to you, so close that gravity destroyed it. This moon's debris is what probably made your rings.
What?
They even say this whole moon destruction thing may have been going on for billions of years with other moons that formed previous rings.
Saturn's favorite moon, right? What did he call you? His Middle Earth? Wait, what? What's up with that name? Oh, it's because Titan's Mountains are named after famous mountains from the Lord of the Rings books. Oh, for a moment I thought you were implying he was... But it's also because you're both made of rock, have atmospheres, volcanoes... What, volcanoes? Isn't he like very cold? Ice volcanoes. Oh, that sounds way cooler. What? No! How is ice cooler than lava? Well, it literally is. But anyways, you both also have lakes and rivers. Nobody else does, for what I know. So? Does he have an ocean, huh? Under his surface. And not just any ocean, liquid water. So it's possible he could sustain...
At minimum, 1.4 billion planets potentially like you in our galaxy, Earth.
But I worked so hard. I put up with so much to be a good home for my Earthlings. But I'm not special?
The universe is big. There's at least 2 of everything. Sorry.
Hey, the Earth and I are neighbor planets. In fact, why shouldn't we be friends? We share almost the same size, mass, density, and volume. Some even believe we were formed at the same time. Well, I used to have, let's say, conditions for life to flourish. What are you on about? Well, around 700 million years ago, I had good weather, habitable conditions, and, you know, surface water. Surface water? Yeah, we used to be quite similar, but, you know, things happened. What's up with all this orange, computer?
The atmosphere is made up of hydrocarbon particles.
That's cool. I still can't believe that a moon in our solar system has such a dense atmosphere. It's insane.
Also, 1.6 times denser than Earth, preferably a diapir.
And what's that?
A mass of ice that's slowly rising. To reach the ocean, we have to cross over 60 miles of surface and a decoupled ice crust.
How long have we been living under Jupiter's shadow?
4.5
billion years. I'm just the most geologically active object in the entire solar system. I'm the densest moon, and also the one with the strongest surface gravity. I'm Ganymede, the biggest moon in the solar system. What's your radius? 1,600 miles. Yours? 1,635! Ha! My radius is bigger.
I also have an underwater ocean. You do as well, Ganymede.
Who are they?
Oh, they're Phobos and Deimos. The three of us are the only moons from the rocky planet side.
How many of you are on the gassy planet side?
Over 200 moons!
Anyway! Why is he going down?
Maybe he wants to exit the solar system?
Impossible! The solar system is 287 billion kilometers wide!
The solar system's very wide, but it's still a big disk.
Venus is attracting asteroids at a much stronger rate. He sure is! What's going on? Well, Venus is much denser than Mars and thus has a higher gravitational pull. That also means that the asteroids have a much easier time hitting him as soon as they enter his gravitational field. It's like he's pulling them in.
Oh, so he's the underdog. Kinda makes me want to root for him. Go, Venus!
Oh! He's using his gravity to pull them into orbit just like moons. With their strong velocity, they'll be flying right back at Mars.
Well, you're both not really hospitable for life. I mean, I almost died of asphyxiation, poisoning, and just general cold on Mars. And I almost died of, well, basically anything, but especially the heat on Venus.
Well, heat is nicer than cold, though, right? Doesn't life need heat?
Well, it's all about balance. That's what Earth's Goldilocks zone is about. Although Venus is kinda also inside of it. But there is still a reason why us Earthlings have been looking at Mars as a future home over Venus. Venus is just too hot. Your atmosphere keeps all of the CO2 inside, causing an intense greenhouse effect. Mars might be cold, but it doesn't melt our equipment. So while you're both bad for life, one of you is impossible for life, even in a protective suit.
Well, a day is the time it takes for a planet to spin all the way around its axis, right? For Mars and me, that's almost the exact same time. How long is a day for you?
About 5,832 hours.
So, we met up anyone like garbage. Sure, I made mistakes, but what about me? The one who keeps catching asteroids for you? Who keeps your axis in check for your Earthlings?